Oh my gosh. I was muting my other stream and I was like, we're ready to go. Holy buckets. Welcome to Popcast on the
Wow.
Rock.
I love
on
it. Just
this.
the turn and oh,
Yeah.
hello.
I mean, it's always fun when there's news anchors that do that. Oh, I'm on the air, like crud or
Right.
whatever, something. Yep. I wasn't caught swearing or anything like that though. Just, you
That's
know,
right.
just, just muting our stream on the other another computer here so you don't have to hear it. But yeah, it's a Friday, episode 21 already. How's your Friday night
Back.
going? How's your week been? Yeah, I know we had a little break there.
We did. And because you were on vacation, you should go first and tell us tales of
Woo.
your exciting vacation.
Well, all right. Well, I went to three separate parks. The Black Hills and Custer Park and
Hmm,
the Badlands.
nice.
So
Did you enjoy that? Was that your first time
Western.
there or?
No, I've been to a couple of those places when I was quite a bit younger. So I didn't remember a lot of it. And then we, just traveled differently that with, just Ashley and I versus with family and we're kids or something like that. So we went to Deadwood and Deadwood was fun. Um I collectively Ashley and I gambled all of $1. We spent
Ooh, big
$1.
spender.
Yep.
High
It was a
stakes.
it was a Johnny Cash slot machine, and I put in $1, and nothing happened. I didn't win, so then I walked away.
All
That was it.
right. Just stay
So,
strong.
yeah. But that's that. Um, but yeah, it was a really good time, really relaxing. We were really lucky with the weather. If we'd been there a day earlier, we would have experienced golf ball to baseball size hail.
Oh my gosh.
And our new
Yikes.
car would have been destroyed. So yeah, it would have been bad. Um,
Yikes. Well, I mean, I feel like you kind of used up your good fortune there, and maybe that's why you didn't win at the slot machine.
okay, well, I'm okay with that. That's all right.
I feel like
That's
that's a
all
better
right.
trade-off in the end, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
losing a
Yep.
dollar versus losing thousands of dollars in potential car repairs and your new car. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So we did a lot of like just bumming around, shopping. We looked at some museums and historical markers. We stayed in historical hotels.
Okay.
And then it did the driving paths slash did some kind of light hiking in the parks. We did one really fun trail in the Badlands that was supposed to take about an hour and a half to do or whatever, and um, but that was a little more vigorous of a walk, so that was
Sure.
fun, and yeah, it was great. I lost
Nice.
several pounds in hair weight.
That's
Um,
right. I was shocked when I saw
uh,
you.
yeah, I know. I look like a different person. For better or worse. And then we saw The Lost World in movie theaters.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
yeah, they were playing Lost World across from our hotel in Rapid City, so we went to
Okay.
that. I played Star
Nice.
Wars pinball, Star Wars Episode One pinball at a comic shop. So yeah, good times.
Say, sounds like a very good trip.
Yeah, yeah, it's something we can
I've
do that's
never
that's close.
yeah. I've never been out that way. I keep meaning to, and Chris really wants to go, so I'm gonna have to get
Oh
out there
yeah,
someday. Um,
for sure.
but my parents actually went out, like, to South Dakota and the Badlands, I wanna say 2 years ago now, and they were talking to a family friend about, like, "Oh, what should we do on our trip?" And his wife just turned to them and she was like, all you need to know is you're gonna have to be prepared to see a lot of rocks. When I went there, it was like, "Oh, look, a rock. How interesting. Oh, another rock, another rock." And she was all excited about it. And then she was like, "But 10,000 rocks later, I was ready to be done." I'd seen every kind of rock there is. So,
Nice. Okay. Nice.
yeah, so they were
Well,
like, "Wow, okay."
yeah.
It's not the, advice
I
you get
mean,
every day.
there's a variety of things, actually nice seem that we can have fun going pretty much anywhere, really, you know. And but I just love being out in the open nature. It doesn't take too much to just be in the mountains, even the baby mountains, and in some sort of impressive um oh no, Andrea's internet dropped, didn't it? She warned of this. She's been having business meetings and then just getting cut out and having to quickly reconnect. So hopefully she can quickly reconnect. I'll talk a little bit more about my vacation. If we can't get her back, we may have to take a pause and switch over to Skype. We're on Discord right now, but anyways, so yeah, Rocky Mountains. Oh my gosh,
"Hey, I'm
there
back."
she is. I was telling everybody you did warn us ahead of
I
time.
did. Fair
Yep, that
warning.
internet. Yep.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
sorry,
I was gonna.
everybody. We wouldn't be us without tech problems, so I feel like
Right.
it's just endearing at this point.
Well, we'll see what everybody says about it. We'll see if it's endearing or not.
I know I might be a little optimistic with that word choice
Yeah.
there, but I'm
Yeah.
going for it. I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely recommend going out
Okay.
west. And then we went to Colorado. It was, I think, 2 years ago already now, and that was great. But I definitely want to get back out to Yellowstone, and then I've never been to Glacier National Park. So,
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't
but
either.
yeah, I love to learn, learning stuff on trips. I didn't know that the Badlands were formed by volcanic ash.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
yeah, I wasn't aware of that, and I thought I just think all that stuff's fascinating.
Mhm.
When you think about it, then it kind of makes sense how it kind of, as if you spill water or something, how it kind of moves out like fingers, and it's kind of like the Badlands, like it's just a big, you know, out blast, whatever.
Right.
And the fact that it all turned to rock. I got pictures of like the cracks going through and up everywhere, and I don't know. It's fun. I love that
It's
stuff.
it's it's just such like a different geographical makeup than what we're used to. It's just
Hmm.
I mean, I obviously haven't been there, but from, my parents' pictures and things, it's just almost like what you would imagine like alien desert world, like Mars. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
just that sort of like
Yep.
makeup of the geography. It looks so different. Oh.
Yep. And it's weird because um, ultimately it's not that large of an area. It's a big area, but
Mhm.
comparatively, it's surrounded by a lot of stuff that is like what we're kind of used to. But it's
Mhm.
just yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah.
do you have like, if you had the choice, would you live in, say, a mountain kind of range, mountain region, or in a prairie, or in an ocean, or like rainforest? Like, where do you feel most comfortable? Oceanside, what
Um
resonates?
yeah, I feel like if I had to pick, I would probably do something like forest or mountains kind of thing. That would reside most with
Mhm.
or yeah, resonate most with me. Um, I mean, the ocean side is fine and I like it for vacations, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't give me that sense of like I'm home when I overlook the
Sure.
ocean or
Mhm.
something or like I don't know, prairie just I don't know. I just like a variety of, visuals to look at and just prairie
Mhm.
just to me says in the name like long flat expanse. I'm just not like
Yep.
that excited by it. So yeah.
Yep.
Just feel like forests are probably my jam. And if we can be on a
Sure.
mountainside, that'd be cool too.
Yeah. If you live in a forest and you look out past the clearing and it's mountain ranges.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd be down with that. And I like where we live in Minnesota. I have relatives in Texas I go visit, you know, fairly on the regular. And each time I come back to Minnesota, I am struck by how green it is here. I just like
Yep.
forget when I'm down there, and then I come back and I'm like, man, I don't know how you live with so much like brown all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's just there's just like this absence of greenery that, I miss when I'm down there. So,
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I have relatives that live in Arizona. It's the same kind of thing. Their lawn is sand, you know, and
mhm.
it's kind of cool. They have cactuses growing and stuff, cacti, but yeah, it's definitely. Then I'm back up here and I'm mowing lawn all the time.
I
I'm like,
know.
oh my God, I know I could use less lawn, but it's ultimately nice. And
Yeah.
Minnesota is very diverse. Like, I mean, a lot of states are when you think about it,
Oh,
but like there's kind of this central region that's kind of flat, but it's really productive farmland. You go southeast and you've got like forests and kind of hilly, rocky areas, redwood, that kind of thing. And you
yep,
start going north and then you get just forest, endless forests. You can drive up
right.
to Duluth and it's just forest. And then you get to Duluth and then yeah, you've got the Great Lakes there and it's a nice kind of
And the
view there, mountain
shoreline.
rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get just I don't know. Yeah.
Got a little bit of everything.
So, yeah.
Good job,
Yeah,
Minnesota.
no mountains, but otherwise it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I would say no like true mountains, but we've got
yeah.
we've got some approximations that can get you kind of close.
Yeah. Some hills.
Yeah.
Well, how about you? Anything exciting this last week
Oh,
or so?
no vacations for me this last week, although next weekend, oddly enough, I am going to Duluth. So, that
Hmm.
was a timely Duluth reference.
Yeah, nice.
It's our 6-year anniversary next weekend, so we decided to take a trip. Obviously, we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
limited right now with, everything that's going on, but thought
Mm-hmm.
camping up in Duluth would be fun. Chris has never really
Yeah.
like stayed up there, and explored
Okay.
around Duluth, so I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, that's what we're
Nice.
gonna do. Yeah,
Well, I hope things are good for you up there and the weather and everything.
yeah.
When weather's nice, I love Duluth. I
I
mean,
do
I wouldn't want to
too.
live there,
Mhm.
but their boardwalk is just fun on a nice day, and I haven't looked into like camping stuff really, but I know we went for a wedding up further along the coast,
Mhm.
and that gets quite beautiful
Yeah.
up to Castle Danger area.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out this weekend. Oh yeah, Lutzen too is gorgeous.
Mhm.
Remember going on a class ski trip up there, God, way back when. Um,
Wow, it's a
yeah,
long drive.
yes, it was. I mean, it was obviously like an overnight thing that we did.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous. Um, go skiing
Well,
obviously in
cool.
in the middle of June, but lots of other things to
Mm.
do. So, and then one little like fun kind of like bringing it back into our entertainment wheelhouse. One kind of fun thing that I found this last week that made me laugh. I was scrolling around on Twitter like I do and found this article that was called Five Completely Inappropriate Movies I Watched with My Father as a Kid. And
Oh.
yeah, the author of this article, like, obviously writes about five movies that he thought like, looking back on it, he was way too young to see and he watched them with his dad and, like it was like this bonding moment for them at the time, but now like looking back at it as a dad, he's like, "Whoa, I never should have like been watching those movies." And I never would have watched or I never like thought that my dad should allow me to watch them now that I'm a father. And I was reading the list of movies and I was like, "Oh my god, is this somehow my long lost sibling?" Because on the list were Alien,
Mhm.
Terminator, Editor. Those are like the first 3 movies I clearly remember watching with my father at like years old. Like no joke. I was definitely not ready to see those movies, but I was just like, "Oh my god, seriously, like who are you, person? Like, tell me about your
You've been
father, because I'm
brainwashed to forget your other sibling.
I know, I was like, "Tell me about your father," because I'm pretty sure he's my father. But
He
yeah,
just went to another house
I just,
afterwards,
like,
it's like
sat down
rotating
some
nights.
kid
Yeah.
and was like, "These are the
Yeah.
best, kid, you gotta watch them." But yeah, I remember, like, everything about all of these, like, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, like, absolutely.
Full Metal Jacket, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Youch. I don't know what that word is. Youch. Yeah, I said it right.
But yeah,
Um,
it was just a
mhm,
funny thing to read and be like, "Oh my god, I saw that. Oh my god, I watched that with my dad
mhm.
too. Oh my god, like, this whole list is my childhood." Oh,
Well, I mean, in fairness, those move for I'm guessing the author is of a similar age range as ourselves.
probably, probably.
Yeah, because it, I think it's not, it's probably just a sign of these are big time movies that, 30 something year old men at the time were pretty impactful to them, you know,
Right. They're
movies,
definitely, like, of a generation, like, totally
yeah,
get,
yep,
like, that, this person and I are probably either of similar ages or perhaps our dads were at the time, even if, like, we aren't quite similar, now. I don't
hmm,
know how old this
yep,
person is, but I'm sure we had similarly aged fathers.
yep,
Um,
right,
yeah,
yep.
it was too funny. Like, I just saw it and just burst out laughing because I thought I was, like, the only one whose dad, showed them Alien at 8 years old, but nope. Other people out there.
Well, an alien, they're drinking face full of alien juice.
Right.
Are you drinking anything more appealing tonight?
I hope so. I hope what I'm drinking didn't come from, an alien, little hatchling, I guess you
Yeah,
call them.
yeah, face
Um,
hugger.
yeah, alien face hugger. Man, I know this is a small, divergent moment, but man, that movie, I still remember the first time I saw that alien burst out the chest. I just was not ready for it. It's still to me one of, like, the best prize cinema moments. It's
Hmm.
it's just so unexpected.
Well, and that's what I appreciate about. I mean, it's kind of almost as like a staple of those movies in a way.
Mhm.
Like you're right. Your reaction is the exact same thing that the rest of the crew has. Then, if after that
Yes.
happens and scatters out, if I recall, they're just silent. They're just
Yeah.
so flippin' freaked out, and it's great. And they give you that moment to let that sink in, and it's it's a movie that's done like you can see all kinds of movies and they do extreme crazy things, but
Right.
because it's just surrounded by extreme and crazy, it doesn't have that resonance like this does. This movie has a
Mm,
slow build, and then as the
yes.
tension rises and you get to this moment, and it really leaves an impact for sure.
Yeah. They do such a great job of selling you the normalcy before all of this
Mhm.
happens. Like, I feel like horror movies often try hard, like, in the beginning to, establish the relationships of, the people that are gonna be terrorized by, whatever's gonna be happening in the movie. They do their,
Mhm.
like, banter thing, and you can tell when the chemistry is, like, forced or the dialogue is forced, and, it's just, like, situations that you're like, "Alright, can we just, like, we get it, you're friends and whatever, and
Mhm.
stuff is gonna happen now." But I just
Yeah.
feel like I was so got into the normalcy of the crewmates as they interacted in Alien, and just,
Mm.
like, everything about, the lead up suggested, you know, not that, I guess. I don't know how else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Yep.
definitely,
Yeah.
like, a
And like say now,
formative experience
yeah.
for me for sure, cinema.
And I think like I was getting to it how they managed to do that sort of thing again to me, that like shocking, horrific moment. So I appreciate Prometheus. So if you haven't seen
Oh, yeah.
Prometheus
Mhm.
Minor thing there, where she has to operate on herself
Mhm.
and you just like, okay, we're gonna watch this. Like we're not cutting away. we're going to see this happen. And to me, that was a shocking, impressive moment to see that, and very badass.
Mhm.
And then in the next one, Alien Covenant, there's a bit where I absolutely love this idea that you go to an alien planet and you think, oh, there's going to be aliens there and they're going to shoot you or eat you up or something like that.
Mhm.
But this was that someone steps on a plant and breathes in the spores from the plant,
Oh, yeah.
and that infects them. And it's like, yes, that's the kind of danger you'd face on an alien planet. It's just all not of your ecosystem, and any bit of it could just make your eyes burst out of your skull or whatever, you know. And the transformation of the person is one of the is probably that I can recall the second most like harrowing and horrific things I've seen in a movie.
Okay.
He
Okay.
just is like, have you seen that movie, Alien Covenant?
I
Have you seen
haven't,
that one?
no, no.
Oh,
It's
okay,
like the
gosh.
only in the Alien verse that I haven't seen, so I should.
Yeah, there's some good performance. Like, I'm not sure if I fully understand the story and how it all fits in together or whatever, but there's definitely some good performances, and that scene is something. So,
Okay. Nice.
we didn't have that on our list at all, but that's okay. What are you
No.
drinking? What are you drinking,
No,
Andrea?
we were still talking about, things that go in your face, so I guess,
Yeah.
we're
Uh-huh.
still on track, and I won't derail us this time. So I did my research, obviously, as usual, and found out that tomorrow is World Gin Day.
Woo!
So I'm drinking a classic gin and tonic.
Nice.
Yes, it's
Nice.
quite delicious. It's
Well, I
Tanqueray
stuck.
gin.
Okay. That's good and piney.
Yes, indeed.
um, I appreciate you found that because it's like, oh, I'm excited to have some gin. I haven't had
Oh.
any gin in a little while.
Hmm.
So I made what I have coined, if it doesn't already exist, London Tropic.
Okay.
Um, so
What's
it's
in a London tropic for us?
so it's gin, 3 shots of gin,
Okay.
um, then equal parts guava juice, and then topped up with club soda, and then
Oh.
some good spanked basil thrown in there.
All right. Spank basil.
You gotta spank it
All right.
before you put it in there.
Naughty
That brings
basil.
out the aromatics. I know. Yeah. So, and I liked it enough that I had to name it. So, London Tropic,
Okay. Okay. Where did
pretty
you
much.
get, like London tropic? Is it
Well,
London for the
gin,
gin
London
then?
Dry, yeah,
Okay.
and then
Right.
the guava for the tropics, yeah.
Oh,
It
nice.
could be a dirty. Usually implies like olive and olive
Yes.
juice, but it
Yes.
could be a dirty London Tropic with all the spanked basil. So I don't know, another meaning. So
I like
I don't
it.
know.
Well, good for
It's,
you.
yeah, it's good
Inventor
stuff.
you.
Yeah,
You're an amateur mixologist over there.
I like to think so, but drink's not looking as good now that it's half gone. The basil's looking sad in there. So, but well, lots of news
Yes.
this week.
Yes.
Um, Stuff I'm certainly excited about. Um, Before we get to the big, well, it's all PlayStation news. So I guess it should set this up for people. Here the show begins. We got PlayStation news, Sony related news, quite a bit. If we're feeling it, could talk a little Housewives, and then later spoiler talk for the movie Futureworld from 1976. Oh no, Andrew froze again. Realize I'm talking to myself here, but that's okay. So that's our also weird person in the comments. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Just because kind of laying down the agenda for the rest of the episode. Um, oh, Andrew's back.
I'm
I
here.
don't. I don't know when I was just talking to myself, but yeah, just giving the rundown of the episode.
All right.
Um, Warning people of spoiler talk about Futureworld in the latter half of the episode. Was that 1976 or something? 1970?
Yes.
It
Yes.
was. Okay. Perfect.
76. The original Westworld, I believe, was 73. So they did a
Okay.
sequel not long after it. Um,
Sure.
it's clearly popular enough to have a sequel go on.
Yeah. Nice. Well, so to the Sony news. I just threw it in
Yes.
now because today I saw all the Last of Us Part 2 reviews. The embargo lifted on that,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So the consensus, critical consensus is out. Seems to be a good game. Most outlets are reviewing it quite high. So we'll see what happens when it gets in the people's hands. But otherwise, it's been well received thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Not really surprising, I guess. The Naughty Dog has a good track record. And then the big news in my book is the PlayStation 5 event console
Mm.
reveal finally
Yes.
happened.
Yes, it did. Yes, I wasn't able
We've
to
been waiting.
unfortunately watch it live, but I watched it
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay.
So
What did you
yeah,
think? I mean,
I thought
what's
it
your
was
rating?
on a scale of what? Should it be a scale of 5 because it's the PS5? Um, I
Okay.
y
All right. Sure.
I know.
Sure.
I would give it a 4 out of 5. If
Okay.
we're not doing, like, half point, I would give it a 4 out of
Yeah,
5.
that's fine.
Um, I thought it was a great mix, and a better job than, unfortunately, Xbox did, in their, big reveal. It was a great mix of trailer and gameplay.
Mhm.
Still not, like a ton of gameplay as, they're just not
Yep.
gonna do, especially for certain games that are farther out in, like release dates. But I thought they did a much better job, like in marketing and just saying like, hey, it's an announcement rather than like it's our feature gameplay. Um, and then like mixing it up between like serious, like more comedic, fun and lighthearted things. Delving into trailers, coming out into like demonstrating gameplay. I really enjoyed the whole thing. And then, we got brief little glimpses of talking, to developers and things like that. I thought that was maybe one area where I liked Xbox's reveal a little bit better. 'Cause you got to kind of talk to more
Okay.
people behind the scenes and learn a little bit more. I felt like this was just very surface.
Yep.
But they, they're moving things along, keeping things going at a good clip. So yeah,
Yep.
I
Cool.
I thought they did a great job.
Nice.
And I think it was
Yeah, I
smart,
would.
obviously, to wait for the actual console reveal towards the end. And I saw like all the
Sure.
comments
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people were just like, show me the PS5 already. I'm like, no, they're making you stay, duh. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. For
I
sure.
mean, yeah, they're
No.
not just gonna like be like, okay, like top of the hour, here we go, and then just like have you, cut out for the rest.
Yep. Yep.
So
Nope.
I
That's
thought it was well done.
yeah. I I like. I agree. I think it was if we're doing out of five, no half points and such. It was about a 4 out of 5. I think they could have cut a little down on time,
Mhm,
but I still enjoyed it all. I mean, I think that I've heard some people comment that they, what's the goal of this event? And it would be to show where the future of gaming is going.
mhm,
And some games don't necessarily lead themselves well to showcasing that. So
agreed.
maybe, release those trailers on YouTube and such and your website and everything afterwards for a lot of other games that are announced and coming, but they don't necessarily need to be part of the presentation that is showcasing what makes you really excited about this game or this system, because a lot of those games, they're going to be playable on current gen, they're going to be playable on everything. you know
Mhm,
what's why is what's this thing that's driving forward and so we're really going to impress us. So but
definitely.
either way, I like watching game stuff, so like I'm not ultimately going to complain. um
Right.
I don't I don't love the compare. Everybody's been doing it and it makes perfect sense, but I don't love the comparison between Xbox's event a couple weeks ago, just because Microsoft and Sony are going about this so differently.
Mhm.
Microsoft's console reveal was last year at the Game Awards. You know, their version of revealing the console and kind of a breakdown of it, showing the box, was their like Dreams trailer, and then
Mhm.
their reveal of the Hellblade 2.
Mhm.
And that's what they did to get you excited about the next console and show you the box. Um,
Mhm.
and then it's been sprinkles of things since, and then some third-party game options a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Sony's been more radio silent, and so this is their thing,
Yeah,
Um,
this is
but
everything.
yeah, yep. This is showing first-party titles. This is showing third-party titles. This is showing the console. Whereas
Mhm.
Microsoft showed you the console and one first-party title. Then they showed you
Mhm.
some third-party titles, and then next month they're going to show you some first-party titles.
Yeah.
So it's definitely different, you know.
Yeah, I guess, I for me, it almost felt like that there were 2 halves of the presentation, and, like, if you just, like, severed them completely, between games and gameplay reveal and then, like, the console itself, like, that's just where I feel like that first part that focused on games was just so much like, you know, what what we saw for the
Yeah.
Xbox, it did, it just felt so, so similar. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so I just don't feel like the gameplay flowed naturally into reveal of the console itself. Um, that
Hmm.
whole transition to me felt really strange. So that
I
in my mind almost like divorced the 2.
Sure.
That
I
weird
did
little
like all
like
the graphics though.
strobe
I liked all
beams.
the graphics. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
liked it,
mean,
but
that
it
was
didn't
too
like
long.
flow.
Yeah.
It was way too
Yeah.
long.
But
Um,
I like all, like all the in between things. Even when the stream was about to start, I appreciated whoever sat in Maya or whatever software they use
yeah.
and made all the like things. I thought that was cool. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I liked that, but yeah, just like between like stopping, showing the games, and then moving into the weird extra long micro beads into the
hmm
reveal. It just
hmm
like it totally gave my mind time to just like divorce itself from the games.
So, what do you think of the look of the system?
Ah, here again, I'm kind of two minds about it. I like all the colors. Like I like the black and white contrast. I kind of like the blue LED, glow that it has. But I so okay, this is gonna sound really strange, but like when you look at it from all angles, the white
Mhm.
outside weirdly reminds me of like a manila folder just encasing something
Oh,
inside. Do you know what I mean? Just because
interesting.
you can like see like the uh um hard back edge of it, and then you can see like the flaps come over like the black
Mhm.
portion inside. And when like they were doing their kind of 360 around, so you could see
Mhm.
everything. I saw that it was, kind of like that on all like the three sides. I don't know why it made me think of something like encased by a manila folder.
Sure.
So I was
Okay.
just like, it's a little strange.
Mhm.
I worry about like as a person who's super klutzy, I worry about like breaking those like little wingtips off console.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Just because it's not
okay.
like solid all the way around. So that's immediately, of course, where my mind goes is like, that's
Okay.
gonna chip at some point. So
Hmm. Yeah,
that
no,
could that could just be a personal hang up, I guess.
yeah. I been seeing a lot of people talk about how they don't like the whites, that
Hmm.
there's two camps, I guess, or whatever, that a lot of
Okay.
people want their stuff to be black and they have it fade away,
Mhm.
So you have what your TV stands out, and then
Mhm.
your everything on your console goes away, it
Mhm.
doesn't, you don't notice it. And this
Yeah,
is definitely something you'll notice.
definitely.
Um, but I guess I'm okay either way. I think it's maybe a cool idea to have something that stands out. I
I
I get,
I like
there
that,
was a
like I
time in the
said.
yeah, yeah. It's something different. I don't some people talk, well, it age well. And yeah, I probably won't age well, but who cares? Like it's, I don't know,
It's not, I mean,
not really important.
it's not meant to age well. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like nobody, I mean, I just don't think like many gaming consoles are designed to like, 30 years in the future, are we gonna look at it and be like timeless? Probably not.
Yeah,
That's fine.
right.
When have we
Hmm.
ever? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, going along with like that sort of commentary, this does seem designed to stand out in the fact that like it stands up. That's like you're supposed to display it. You know what I mean? Like you don't really
Well,
like
yeah,
set it on its side. It's designed to like,
PlayStation's I mean,
you know.
like with placing things, having the verticality is nice, and I think that, the Xbox showed vertical, the PlayStation has, since the PS2, has been often shown vertical, or has at least been
It,
an option to put it vertically. And when I saw this, I was wondering if you could lay it horizontally. It's like you must be able to, because it didn't look like it would have
it
feet to
doesn't
do
feel
that.
like it though, right?
But
Like the
yeah,
way that
but
it's like
they
set
have
up on that little
shown,
stand, it just doesn't feel
yeah,
like you should. Oh,
but they have shown imagery that you can lay it down, so
okay.
it's
Okay.
it's
All
fine.
right.
Because I wouldn't know where to put it otherwise. I have an Xbox that's really cool, Gears of War Xbox, and it'd be
Okay.
nice to set it up and display it. I just don't have this place to do that. So yeah, but yeah, I think I don't know. It will catch people's attention, and they'll
Mhm.
undoubtedly make a all black one, and they'll do some different editions at some point and that kind of thing. Um,
I think it'd be kind
did
of cool if you could pop out the black part from like the white casing. You know what I mean? Like so the
mm,
white casing would be like your sort of display if you wanted it to be, and then you could like pop out the black part and that's like the actual, console itself.
mm,
You could have if both ways if you wanted it.
sure. Did this presentation, and with the look of it, and the
Mhm.
enhancements to the new way the controller is going to provide extra senses and stuff, like, are
Mhm.
you sold? Are you going to buy one? Is it a must
I
have?
I am, I would say mostly sold. It did
Okay.
make me very excited, and like I said, I did overall like the look of the console. I just, practicalities always enter my mind. Like I said, I'm a klutzy person, so I'm just like, oh boy, like can already see me breaking this. Um, but I mean, it looked really cool, and I really actually liked the digital option a lot.
Okay.
I really
Okay.
liked. I thought that looked even nicer and sleeker, especially because for my brain, I love symmetry, and so like having things like
Hmm.
a little bit lopsided was just like, oh, my brain can handle it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I thought it was great. I would have, I don't know, maybe liked a little bit more focus or demo of something with, the new controller. Um,
Hmm.
just felt
Get. Mhm.
like we got to see it, but I don't know. I just wanted something more. I'm still
Well,
not
I
sold on
watched.
some of the features, like the microphone that's way down, in the middle of the controller and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's just
Yeah.
I know we had talked about this earlier when they first revealed the design, and we were just like, "What am I gonna
Yep.
do? Like talk up here?" But
So what I'm wondering, I guess, is what would make you and Chris switch, because you guys have, as long as I've known you, you've always been a one console household. You have one system basically, except maybe you keep some older ones or something like that. But you buy one of the new
yeah,
ones,
yeah. I
and
was gonna
then
say,
and
yeah.
that's what
We
you
have
play.
multiple
Yeah.
Xboxes and then our
Yeah.
GameCube and stuff like that. But that's,
Yeah.
that's old school.
Yeah. So what would it take for you to, going into the next generation, for you decide to, having, I don't think you guys own a PlayStation. What would make you have to buy a PlayStation
Don't
instead of an Xbox?
own a PlayStation. I'm trying to think of own a Wii. Own a Wii. So
Okay.
we do own, yeah, sorry, tangent.
Yeah.
What would it take to make us PS5? Um, I honestly don't know. I think it would just have to be something to do with like seeing the gameplay with our own eyes. I mean, I know we see it here in like the demos and stuff like that, but that's just like so
Mhm.
different than like playing it. I think it would probably center around for us, like getting the chance to maybe demo either Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Resident Evil 8, because those for us are like core gameplay.
See,
So,
so that's the interesting thing. So what PlayStation is, and traditionally console makers are counting on is that you're going to see the games that are only available on their platform, and
it
you're going to want to buy that system because of those games. And it's the
mhm,
reason people keep buying Nintendo stuff because where can I play Mario? Well, I can only play Mario on a
right.
Nintendo system. So, or whatever whatever the franchise may be.
Right.
So there were quite a number of PlayStation exclusive slash console exclusive games. And the little word trickery there, I guess. And in this showcase,
Mhm.
you know, are any of those games that you saw that are they, man, that game looks so amazing. I really want to
Yeah.
play that. That I
Yeah,
mean, because
so
that's the question, like because you
right,
mentioned Res
right.
Evil and Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
Those
I'm
are
so excited.
multi-platform and always will be multi-platform as far as we know, and
Obviously, if either of those games decided to be exclusive, we'd have some hard considering, even more to do. But yeah, if we want to get into like games that I saw that that definitely tempted me, um, there definitely were a few. I really enjoyed um Soulstorm, the preview of Soulstorm, which came, I believe it was like
Soulstorm.
it's like the fourth or fifth one in, and it reminded me so strongly of John Carter of Mars, like the Tharks from John Carter, like just the little figures. I don't know why that's what it reminded me of. Um,
Oh, Odd World. Okay, I didn't
Oddworld,
remember what
sorry.
the extra thing was.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay,
there's just all of that world. I don't know why. Like, I just sat there thinking, like, man, I'm watching like a video game version of John Carter. And,
interesting.
and as you and I have both like discussed before, like we agree that John Carter is just like such an underrated movie. And I loved it so much. And this
Mhm.
to me was kind of like I said, playing as like the Tharks from John Carter. So I
Okay,
don't know. I was really interested in that story. So that
okay.
that trailer kind of tempted me a little bit there. Um,
Odd World, I'm guessing will be multi-platform. Because I think traditionally they are. The original meta might have been an original Xbox exclusive.
oh, interesting.
Um,
Well, it's Xbox getting points for me there.
yeah. Let's see. Well, I had to look at it, but I'm guessing it's going to be available on everything here if I can
Okay.
find it
Well,
quickly.
if
But
it was a PlayStation exclusive, that would definitely tempt me. And then also what would tempt me is I've been in kind of like a very like deep, serious, gaming phase for a long time. It'd be nice to like get back into the land of like, fun games. So
mhm.
Sackboy definitely was like
Okay,
one
yep.
of those ones that I just like watched and was like, oh my gosh, he's like an adorable little like sack puppet version of Mario, just like moving through the world the way that he does. So I was just like loving Sackboy. Okay, I wrote in my in my comments like a stuffed version of Mario, but also like, does he not remind you of like murder trivia from
Yeah,
Jackbox
no, I
TV?
understand.
Like
Yeah, I saw you write
totally
that, and it's like,
little sack people
yeah.
that you are in those. Like he just he's reminded me of like an adorable version of that. So I was just like, oh my God, how cute is this?
I'm guessing Sackboy came first, unless Jackbox is a lot older than I'm thinking.
I'm thinking
Um,
Sackboy came
but
first as well, but yes. I mean, and probably, could have nothing to do with each other, but just that's what it
yep,
reminded me of. Like a weird little
yep,
cross between Mario and a happy murder trivia character. So,
yep. That's that's funny.
yes.
I'm still on looking to see if this is um
You're determined.
yeah, I'll look up later, but okay. Well, that's yeah, I mean, Little Big Planet, people have really enjoyed those games for sure.
Yeah.
I know some of our friends used to play that quite a bit. I've never really gotten into them, but that studio made the game Dreams that's out now,
Nice.
and I
Yes.
think they got it from Little Big Planet. Was a part of it was level design, and people got pretty creative with creating their own stuff in there and their own kind of thing. And I like this now that they have Dreams that really is fulfilling that idea and that vision of creating your own game or your own art or
Mhm.
whatever, and then it can
Yes.
kind of leave this to um, be more of a fun platformer kind of thing and
Right.
not so much going down that create your own thing rabbit hole.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You have to do that work if you don't want to.
yep. Um, what? So, okay. So for exclusive games, that was the kind
Mhm.
of thing maybe that you really seemed to connect with,
Mhm.
the interesting games. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, there were definitely other games in there. Although, so I do before we get to like other games that I would try to play. Um, there were two in there that did not seem like games to me at all. I wrote them down. It like Goodbye Volcano High, Little Devil Inside. Like
okay.
those seem
Okay.
like trailers for shows. Like I would watch the
Yeah.
heck out of like whatever show or movie they wanted to make from those. I just watched
Hmm.
them and went like, "What do you do? Like, where is the
Well,
what
sure.
would I do with these characters?" Like the first Goodbye Volcano High seemed like some sort of like super sweet anime that I would totally watch. Um,
Okay.
and then Little Devil Inside seemed like I don't know, kind of um like a paper cartoon version of like Wallace and Gromit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like those
Yep.
sort of like
It's that kind of
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, it's like a story without
Yep.
words. You know what I mean? Like you get everything
Yep.
because you mostly intuit expression and the
Yep.
way that they do cutscenes and things like that. So
Yep.
I love them. Like I cracked
Well,
up laughing at Little Devils Inside, but like I don't know what I would do.
so Goodbye Volcano High is likely a narrative driven kind of I don't know if you've heard of the game what's it called now? A Good Life, yeah, like a bit like a visual
Yeah.
novel, like Alan says there. I'm trying to think of the big one that kind of broke out and has made it more of a little more mainstream. But
Okay.
there is it's definitely so Telltale Games for a while was doing this kind of thing a little bit. They do Walking Dead or Arkham,
Yeah.
the Batman stuff or whatever, and they would have it where you make choices quickly and go through, so it's not so much you're not game playing in the sense that you need to run around and jump over things or shoot things. You definitely are making choices within a story. And so that's what I'm guessing that is. Um, and
Yeah.
then, yeah.
I heard a lot of commentary that that they were a lot of people were assuming that that's what it would be. I
Hmm.
guess that's just not like my cup of tea, and I kind of learned
Sure.
this while I was watching the Kimmy Schmidt Netflix interactive movie.
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's
okay,
just
I know,
I
but
I
yeah,
either wanna be, like, watching the story or, like, I'm fully in control of my gameplay. I get, like,
yeah.
I obviously get cutscenes and, like, you get to a certain point and, like, the story progresses and you watch, like, a scene or whatever, but I don't like it that heavy.
Hmm.
I kind of watched, like I said, I watched Goodbye Volcano High and just thought like I would watch the heck out of this anime
Yeah.
that they should make out of this, but I don't know that I would play it.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
not marketed to me
some
as a gamer.
some people enjoy the, I know Ashley likes it too, where you enjoy the having to make a really difficult decision,
Mhm.
especially in
Yeah.
a timely manner.
Yeah.
Where,
Mhm.
I think one of the best things about games are the way that it can make you feel that a lot of other mediums can't,
Mhm.
because you're interacting with it. A novel can make you really sad because it really gets you in the head of someone and you can feel their pain or whatever. But when you have to make the choice between, you know, saving this person or, saving a village or breaking the heart of this person, but you know, if you do that, then you will, I don't know, save save your sister,
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like it makes those moments really impactful, and it can make you
Mhm.
empathize and feel with those characters a lot more than just being a passenger.
Yep.
So, but
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I get it theoretically. I think it's just yeah,
yeah.
it's just not like probably my cup of tea for gaming.
Mhm. Yeah, Alan said Life is Strange. That's what I was thinking of. Is Life is
Oh, yeah.
Strange,
Yeah.
part one and
Call.
two. Yeah. And then yeah, the Little Devil Inside. That one. Yeah, it looks strange. I don't know. I think the gameplay
Yeah.
is gonna be varied. It looks like a third person kind of action
Mhm.
adventure thing. The premise I don't understand. If it's like more you're living out fantasies that you're having or something maybe.
Right.
So it can be really wacky and zany.
Right, you
But
clearly seem to play as this, younger man, I think, out on
mhm,
an adventure quest to, like, find something, but other than that, I don't really know, what the story is, if you're, like,
yep,
retrieving something for the older gentleman who also appeared in the trailer or, if he's, like you said, imagining that he's this character, um,
yep,
escape his kind of, like, everyday life or something. I don't know, but,
yep,
well done on that trailer, but again, like, I would watch that as a movie for sure, probably not play it.
yep. Well, let's get to the big news for you then. Resident Evil 8.
Oh my god, I loved it
Did you
so
call
much.
it? Did you think that when did you know it was
Immediately,
Resident Evil? Immediately?
immediately,
Okay, nice.
immediately. Yeah, no, especially I mean, I thought of it right away, just like they had, like, all these, like dog and ram and wolf symbolism. I just like was like, oh my gosh, that just like calls me back to Res Evil 4. And then the second you saw that village and the older gentleman in the cabin, I was like, this is the village from Res Evil 4. Like it's happening right now. We're in the village. And then it was, Res Evil 8 village that they,
Yep,
cleverly used to spell it out. But yeah, no, I knew immediately. I was very
cool.
excited because
How did
that to
that
me is
old
like
man
classic.
how did that old man not hit the protagonist with a shotgun? I
I
don't
know.
know.
I know.
That threw me for a good minute there watching it. I'm like, wait a minute. You just got
Yeah.
shot. Like I don't
Yep.
understand here. And then I kind
Yep.
of like missed a few things and I had to like, all right, I gotta let this go and watch the rest of it. Because I
Yeah.
just didn't get it. You pointing this.
It's
I mean,
yeah, that's just how it
I don't know.
works. Um,
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
no, it was a great
But
callback for me
okay,
because you obviously know that Res Evil 4 is like one of my favorite all-time games. Oh, to
it
me,
did. It did
that
feel.
was fun.
It did feel more like that one.
Mm.
Um, kind of, and then the castle feels right. For that kind of thing, and it. I don't know. I like the ladies like standing over you, and like I don't know whatever cult and things they had going. It definitely felt interesting and fun. Different. It
Yeah.
wasn't like here's a zombie. We didn't see a zombie really. I mean, maybe
Right.
that's a werewolf zombie, or I mean, I don't know, but
Right. Yeah, no, I think
so
it was a good job, for many people who wouldn't like that wouldn't be their first thought, you know?
Mhm.
because it had me, like, for, like, a split second or 2, like, I was like, "As evil," and then I was like, "Oh, wait, maybe I'm wrong." But then, it kept going, and I was like, "No, I'm right." Um,
So the
but
game looks like
yeah, it was fun. It's fun to see,
the
like,
game looks
this sort of, like, village, but with, like, Chris, the character of Chris instead of Leon.
so that's what I was gonna ask then.
Mhm,
What do you think of Chris being back? And do you think you don't play him? It seems like it's a first person game, more like
mhm,
Resident Evil 7.
mhm.
Are you okay with first person? What do you think?
Um, I mean, it's not classic for me, but I'd be okay with it. I don't know. I guess I don't know necessarily that you do play first person, or if um we're doing some sort of like multiplayer kind of thing. And I haven't
Hmm.
done my homework on this, which is terrible because I should know more, being that I love Res Evil. Um, yeah, I mean it would be fun for me to like have that the style of gameplay again, like a multiplayer. Because
Did
that's what I liked about 5.
5? Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Um,
with obviously
the
Chris in it.
yeah, yep. You should play 7. Surprised you even play it. You should play 7 and see what you think of Resident Evil 7 and see what you think.
Okay.
Because that one they look this one looks a lot like that in, it's where the game engine kind of just its style or whatever. And that one I thought maybe you could play that in first or third person. So maybe you get
Okay.
the choice.
Choice.
Um
Sure.
I hadn't thought of these things. I really looked them up beforehand because I haven't played Resident Evil 7. That one kind of passed me by. Remember it coming
Snuck
out and they
out
were
there.
talking about it. Well, I remember talking about it. It looked very different. It was shown always as first person, and then it was talked about like you should experience it in VR. And
Mhm.
we tried it in
You
VR
remember
and
that.
got sick immediately.
Really?
So we kind of just, yeah, it just was because, yeah, you try walking someplace, and because you're not actually
Sure.
walking, it would make you so sick feeling. So we
Sure.
would have to play it in non VR.
Sure.
But I don't know. It looks cool though. I agree.
Yes.
I really would love if they did a multiplayer thing or something,
Mhm.
because it's a lot of Resident Evil was fun that way because I don't like to put myself through the terror so much, and when you can do it together, it's better. So yeah. Well, anything else you have to say about Resident Evil 8? No, you froze. I thought you were getting quiet. Um, well, I wish I would have known to look up about more about 7. But if anyone's watching, let me know what you think of Resident Evil 7 and what you think of Resident Evil 8. Anyways, I'll go on to talk. Oh, there she is. I was just gonna ask then, is there anything else you have to say that you're about Resident Evil 8 Village that you're excited about or
Um, Probably not
curious about?
about Res Evil 8. I mean, I like we were just briefly saying, multiplayer would be fun just because I enjoyed like the settings of Res Evil 4 and then the multiplayer of
Mhm.
Res Evil 5, and then to like have them both, if that's like the possibility here, I think would be really fun. I enjoyed the
Yeah,
multiplayer of Res Evil 5, but I enjoyed like the setting less. So
sure.
this would
Yep.
be like the marriage of perfect worlds here, if that's what we get.
Yep. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, I was interested to find out. I looked this up later. It seems like the two Bethesda games, Ghostwire Tokyo and I'm blanking on the name of the other one, the one with the two assassins that are
Oh,
stuck in a loop.
yeah.
Um,
Yes.
I didn't write that one down for some reason, but they
All I keep thinking of is
it's
Hitman 3, and it's the one after Hitman 3 in the
hmm.
Yeah,
It's got the 70s vibe, 70s
totally.
spy
Yep.
thing, and it's
Mhm.
um I love the
I know exactly
studio,
what you're talking about.
traditionally arcane studios and stuff. And both of these games look like they are um PlayStation console exclusives, at
Okay.
least to start,
Okay.
which is surprising. These guys make the stuff like Dishonored, like this game
Mhm.
looks a lot like Dishonored.
Mhm.
Ghostwire looks trippy and freaky with all the death loop. Yep, that's what else. Death loop. Yep. Um, and
Thank you, Alan.
I'm really that's a thing that I'm shocked is so what that means is it's going to be available on PlayStation 5 and on PC in the Epic Game Store. That's
Mhm.
basically what that means. So I don't know. I'm wondering if that sways anyone. Those to me are pretty big gets if that's the case. Otherwise, maybe it'll be like a 6-month exclusivity thing and they'll change that and they won't, something like that.
Right.
But I was surprised by that. Um, Ashley was very excited about Ratchet and Clank coming back. She loves
Yes.
those games. Um,
Yes.
I thought they were fun. I played them some. Um, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. That one I am very excited for. That's
Okay.
another exclusive to PlayStation 5 for console and then on the Epic Game Store for PC. Um,
Mhm.
and it's to me, it seems like kind of a Zelda-ish sort of game. Very pretty action
Yeah.
adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, visually, I
Um,
thought it was beautiful. It again was one of those where, like, I I kinda wanted to see some gameplay more. I mean, I know they did,
I
like,
think they
very
showed a little bit,
they showed, I
Yeah.
felt like, more of, like, blips, do you know what I mean? Like, it was, like,
Mhm.
interspersed in the trailer, there was, like, some gameplay. I would have liked maybe a little bit longer just to understand,
Mhm.
like, what I was doing, but yes, like, I thought that was an
Yep.
interesting one for sure.
Mhm. And then I wouldn't say that I would have cried if they didn't show the new Horizon game, but I would have been upset. It's
Yeah.
been a bit of time. It's been like 3 years, and though I don't need it to come out immediately, I want them to announce it, and they
Yeah.
announced it and
I
gave
thought that
us some
was
pretty
one of the biggest
looks.
ones for everybody, for sure.
Yeah. Horizon always often gets left out of the conversation. People talk about PlayStation and they talk about God of War and now
Mhm.
Spider-Man, and then it goes
Yeah.
to Last of Us and
Mhm.
Uncharted and they name all these things and then I mean I guess there's only one game of it. It's not a long running franchise at this point kind of thing, but it's sold millions. People love it. I
Mhm.
love it.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited that we got our first look and it is the
Yeah.
single reason that I will definitely buy a PlayStation 5. Lest
Yeah,
they wreck it, I will buy that.
mean, just from watching that trailer, it's stunning. I mean, the visuals
Mhm.
are just absolutely gorgeous. Like, between the clarity, the color, the expanse of the world. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. And that was another one
Yeah.
that, I don't know if it's like my tipping point, but definitely like pushing me to a PS5.
Mhm. I there's some just like there's sometimes a movie or a book or something that resonates with you, for you like that the feel of Resident Evil 4 or whatever, that's kind of what clicks. And for all its flaws, Horizon Zero Dawn just clicks with me. Like I have so many problems
Sure.
with that game,
Yeah.
but I like being in that world. The story was intriguing to me, and so
Mhm.
I definitely will be back on board for that one. And
Sure.
I'm surprised I didn't think of like the name. Everybody is always thinking, what's it going to be called? Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or Horizon 1 Dawn or this silly stuff,
You're
but
still
yeah,
in the
Horizon
yeah,
Horizon
you're doing, like,
Forbidden
rips
West.
off the existing name. Yeah.
Yep. It makes perfect sense because Horizon Zero Dawn is like a project in the game. So that part's over and done with. So now we can have Horizon something else. So yeah.
Mhm.
So that
Kinda yeah, I
I'm
kinda
pumped
think
about.
it's kinda cool because, I mean, you think of, like, Dawn is in the East. That's, like, the beginnings of the,
Oh,
Horizon Zero Dawn, and then, like, the Forbidden West,
yeah.
it, like, sets in the West, so it's just kind of like a
Mhm.
little cyclical
So
action
where's the
for you.
Midwest? Horizon, you know,
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but we're missing it.
Yeah. Well,
There's
maybe that'll be, the next one. They'll be like, "Okay, we
mhm,
got East and West, now we need something in the
yeah.
middle."
Well, the thing is, the first game, Horizon Zero Dawn, really does take place kind of in the West already. It
Mhm,
takes place sort of in like Colorado. I think it
mhm.
goes into Montana, Idaho, that kind of thing. Like you go to basically Yellowstone in that game and that kind of thing. Utah, that sort of area. So West is definitely going to be like, it's got to be like Seattle, California, that kind of thing.
Mm, yeah.
So, yeah,
I,
cool.
am one of those who, like, hadn't heard much of I mean, I know I'd heard you talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, but didn't know much about, like, the storyline, and to hear that it's kind of like well, not kind of, but like, post-apocalyptic America, um,
Hmm.
it definitely intrigues me for sure, um, but that if we're talking Midwestern, I was right there for sure, boy, um, but it does because I read a series of books as a teen, the Shannara Chronicles, by Terry
Okay.
Brooks, that is
Mhm.
set in the exact same kind of like post-apocalyptic America where, natural forces have taken over what once were cities and technology and machinery, and now it's kind of like this again rising world where like magical things can happen, and it's been reclaimed. So that to
Mhm.
me was very like, oh, I see a connection here, and that was one of my favorite book series as a
Sure.
kid. Like, that's definitely an inroad for me, and garnered some
Yeah.
interest.
Well, it's so they describe it, and it sounds like the Shannara Chronicles would be the same kind of thing. They describe it as
Mhm.
a post-apocalyptic world
Yeah. Hmm.
because the post-apocalyptic is always, boy, everything is in shambles.
Right.
And it's
Right.
true,
Yeah.
everything of our day is in shambles, but they don't, no one alive remembers us. Civilization has started again and
Yes.
is
Yep.
moving forward. The our
Very
buildings
much
of
the same.
today are how we look at the ancient Roman. It's their ruins.
Yes.
Of an
Exactly.
of a lost people. Or and but except they know way less about us than we know
Mhm.
about you know um, Athens, Greece, or something like that.
Right.
Um, so yeah, the imagery for it was really provocative. I looked into how they made it, and they would, I have an art book, and they create this building that would exist, and then they go through their layers of deterioration over like how
Yes.
many centuries it would be and what it would look like and stuff.
Yes.
And to see how like tribal humanity would start up again. And so you see the
Yeah.
different kind of groups of people living in different environments and how they would, they start forming their different religions, and
Mhm.
they see the machines that are in the world in different ways. Some think they're,
Mhm.
like a holy thing, and some think they're devils, and some wear their parts and incorporate that into their machinery. And um,
Right.
I love that. So, yep.
Yeah, it sounds very much like, the TV adaptation of those books. Came
Mm,
out, I
okay.
wanna say, like,
It's like
it
on
must be, like
MTV or something, right?
yeah, it's gotta be, like, 5 or 6 years ago now. It's been a while.
Hmm.
It's terrible adaptation. So bad. I watched all of it because, like, I had to, um,
Hmm.
but it's awful, but the imagery is very much similar. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
they take,
Yep.
what would have been in America and just, like, kind of, like, break it all down and, like, have, layers of either destruction or, nature is like reclaimed part of it, and things are growing again over whatever. So that part to me was very cool to see visually what I'd only done in my head at that point.
Yep.
um yeah, there are some other tragic um twistings of characters and storyline that I just can't get into because it's so terrible, but
Okay.
visually
I
very similar.
I think you'd love Horizon Zero Dawn. I think there's
Mhm.
some political things in there that you probably enjoy, and it's
Sure.
beautiful. And it's the one thing that will drive you crazy, coming from Assassin's Creed, and it
Okay.
drove me crazy because I was kind of playing this and Breath of the Wild at the same time.
Okay.
Is they need to in this sequel fix the climbing. When
Oh,
she's
okay.
climbing
Okay.
where
Okay.
she's supposed to climb,
Mhm.
she is the best climber I've ever seen ever. She just is super, almost can fly up cliffs. It's incredible.
Sure.
But then when you're climbing where you're not really meant to, it's disastrous. Is not right. So they really, because
Okay.
I'm playing in Assassin's Creed Origins, you can climb pretty much anywhere, pretty
Yeah.
well. Breath of the Wild, you can definitely climb anywhere. That is not the case in Horizon Zero Dawn. You need to find a
Okay.
path or the right way up, and it is frustrating. So,
Okay. All right.
all right. Well, I've ranted
Oh.
about Horizon enough. Um, next week I'll be back with a tattoo. Right there, Horizon. So, yeah.
Love it. You did
Uh,
say you wanted your first tattoo to be meaningful, so, this could be it, John.
oh, I
Do
can't
this,
do
like,
it.
beautiful, gorgeous
It's
landscape, you know? You could get the
yep.
mechanical turtle rising out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like,
I
"Mhm,
can't.
mhm." Love when you
There's so many
It's
things
it
that
always means, like, rejection. Mhm.
there's it's definitely they're not to the extent of Microsoft, but there's a love-hate relationship I have with Horizon because there's some things in it that just drive me crazy, but I just like again it connects with me, so then I love it
Sure.
yet. So
Oh, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
um
Maybe Forbidden West has fixed some of those things that drive you crazy, and it's just, next level.
they're not my complaints, so I'm guessing that they'll have yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to talk any about Housewives, or should we skip over that for now and try that another time?
Um, let's save it.
Okay, all right, we'll save it because
Or,
we can talk
maybe we'll
about
address it at the
PlayStation
end of the
Launch here.
program.
Yeah, yep. Okay, that sounds good. Something
'Cause
like that.
I feel like with,
Um,
like, Horizon Zero Dawn, kind of being like this future, this, of repurposing of, machines and things like that, it kind of leads rather well into our
okay,
movie that we watched this week.
which is
Future World!
oh, who's heard of
What's
that one? No one? Yeah,
Future World, you say? Yes.
yeah,
It sounds vaguely familiar, probably
yeah,
because it reminds you of Westworld.
yeah. Which
Also,
we've
there
talked a lot
is
about.
we've talked a lot about Westworld. Also, there is another movie called Future World. It's so in this case, the one we're talking about, is all one word, and the other Future World is 2 words. I
Hmm.
believe it's a movie in, like, 2015.
It's newer, yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's got, like, James Franco in it, and it's about something completely separate from, the whole, like, Westworld ethos and, universe. So, no
Mhm.
relation at all, but so we're clear, we're talking about 1976 Future World.
Yeah, and I liked this idea. I wasn't sure when you first saw. You brought up to me should watch Future World because it might give us some insight into where Westworld, the TV
Mhm,
series on HBO, may go.
mhm.
And I think, are we going to really learn anything? And I think so. I think we
I think so
did.
too.
So that's cool.
Yeah,
I have to say I pretty well enjoyed it. Like
yeah.
the 70s tech is fun to see.
Mhm.
And it's another one of those examples where we're always we're always dealing with the same thoughts and topics and issues and whatever they may be, like we find ourselves feeling like we're dealing with the same existential crisis and all and
Mhm.
whatever. So this movie 1976, you know we talk a lot about, they bring up everybody's being facial recognized and scanned and copied, and you're not all this stuff. So I thought it was cool, even if it's
Yeah.
completely unbelievable with the technology they're showing in this situation.
No, I mean, like mechanics of the thing may be different, but I feel like the idea is the same. And that's what makes it
Yep.
interesting. Like we're so continually preoccupied with the same kinds of ideas. It's just whether or not we're living in the time that we think that they're actually possible and they seem plausible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Nowadays I think with the tech that we have, everything seems more plausible. 1976,
Mhm.
they may still think like, oh, you can have technology that copies humans completely, and insofar as like these copies can take the place of the person, but it's not quite believable yet. And I think that the tone of the movie is really like they don't truly believe it's possible, but at that particular moment, but they believe it's possible enough they can make a pass at it and kind of show people what might happen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I just feel like the movie didn't get into um this is like really truly deeply plausible, but it's a
Yep.
possibility and we're going to show you that possibility.
Yep. I mean, I think that's some of the best, near-term science fiction. You take something that
Mhm,
is real or you think is real or possible now and,
mhm.
extrapolate that out, a little bit.
Right,
So you can see that in Westworld, the TV show now with Rehoboam or whatever, that that's not possible right now. But we can see where that seems like it is quite feasible within a relative amount of time, within a reasonable
exactly,
amount of time.
exactly.
So, um, what did you think? I mean, in a as a whole, or like, did you just
Yeah,
as a movie, did you enjoy it?
I did. I thought it was fun. I haven't seen the original Westworld, so but I thought that was actually okay with this movie because we'd seen, like the TV series, so we have the background that I didn't feel like skipping over the original Westworld was a problem. Like I never felt like, oh, like I don't know exactly what's happening here or, where they got that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if, you've only seen a couple episodes of Westworld, I feel like you could watch this movie and just be totally fine.
It made
You know?
sense for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Um, I thought it was really interesting. They from what I understand of Westworld, the original movie, they focus only on Westworld and only like hint that there are other worlds in the park, in the
Okay.
Delos, facility. I don't know that they call it a
Mhm.
park. And in this one, they do explicitly go into, okay, we have Westworld, and we also have these other worlds, which we kind of get now. We're getting now in, like the third season, and are going to be getting into the fourth season of the TV show. They're slowly revealing, like, hey, we have Shogun World, we have War World. You know what I mean? Like we're getting all of these other
Yep.
ones, and that was clearly mirrored from this movie. Um, but I thought that their worlds were very interesting. Like they had Westworld, they had Roman world where you could be a gladiator, they had medieval world, which was like Renaissance festival on steroids. Um, and they had, future world, which is like basically a world in space. And then
Mhm.
they had spa world, which me was just
See,
so
I missed that.
random.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Spa World. I mean, that's the
spa
people that
world.
go there and definitely like, okay, you can't get laid in any of the other ones, I guess, is what people would think. So you got to go to Spa World. I don't know.
Like, that to
I want
that
my
to me
nails
was just
done.
was so boring. Like, I don't know who would choose that world because, I mean, like that Russian, um, general, that they were following, he chose Spa World, but it basically was just like I felt like a cross between, like, a cult and being on LSD. because it was
You
just, like, a
know,
lot of dancey people that would just, like, wave their arms around, and
yeah.
then, like, they were like, "Okay, put them in, like, the simulation where they look younger," and it was just like, "That's it? That's all you get to do is, like, watch people wave their arms and be younger?" Like, I don't know.
I bet a lot. I actually thinking about it. I bet a lot of people. Because I think there'd be plenty of people that you'd have trouble convincing to go to any of the other ones. Like I don't want to, I like now. I don't want
Mhm.
to fight anyone. I don't need to any of that stuff. So they want the excitement. They just want to relax. And I think that if you could
Well,
go someplace that seems heavenly and it's just all
yeah.
peaceful and blissful and you can just get massages and yeah, there's dancers and lovely music and they serve you drinks. So it's like it's expanded upon resort thing,
Right.
that's
Although, I
relaxing.
mean but although I just feel like normal resorts just have that. You know what I mean? Like, so they were
Yeah.
talking about, in the movie, one of the things I picked up what on was they were talking about the price, which was $1,200 a day, be there.
Cha-ching. I mean, we're going, yep.
Um,
For
well,
for
and so
today's
I
money. Yeah.
Googled it, so it's around 500 or $5,500 a day. So $5,500 a day now, which
Wow.
actually isn't like that crazy. I thought it was gonna be like $12,000 a day or $20,000 a day or something. That's
Sure.
what, the current TV show Westworld makes it seem like. Because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it makes it seem outrageously expensive, and this was just like, "That's expensive," but not like, nobody could
Yep.
afford it. Um,
Right.
but I definitely wouldn't spend that kind of money, go to, like,
Go to
Spa
Spa World.
World. I just feel like I could go on a vacation, a normal
Yeah.
vacation at a resort and get my money's worth better than that. So, I don't know. I
Yep.
was thinking about which world out of these ones I would pick. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, I probably would pick like medieval world. Um, but I don't
I
know.
mean, yeah.
I just thought it was kind of fun that the different worlds that we had.
Hmm.
What'd
Yeah.
you pick?
Ashley saw just a little bit of it or whatever
Okay.
today when I was watching it, and she definitely have it being playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. She would
I
choose
wanted
Roman
Roman.
World.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she wants a Spartan kick everyone, and so I'm
Yeah.
like, they're gonna be on the intercoms like, we got an issue, like, as a guest here, Spartan kicking every host in sight. Can we
Right.
dissuade them somehow here?
Right.
Yeah, I would probably. I see you mentioned like what would future world look like today, maybe.
Yeah.
So that would really make my decision because
Yeah.
probably medieval world. Um, but it depends on how realistic it is. If you go to medieval world,
Absolutely.
like are all the ladies gonna? They're all gonna be really hairy, and their teeth are gonna be bad.
Are
So
they? Are they? Because are you gonna go to,
I
like,
mean,
Isn't town medieval world? Are you gonna go to, like, castle medieval world? Like, I
uh,
don't know.
they,
I feel like they just, like,
castle world.
whatever well, here's my thought, though. Whatever world you go to, they're gonna finesse a little bit. Like, in
Yeah, yeah,
Westworld, if you truly go to the American West, they're also gonna be, like, dirty and unbathed and not have
yeah,
access to great dental care, and, like,
yeah.
obviously, they all look perfect.
But centuries later,
So,
it's gonna be a little better. Yeah. Okay.
maybe a
All
little
right.
better,
So
but
given
for real,
yes,
Evan Rachel Wood looks pretty damn good for living in the American West. Let's be real.
yes. That would be a fun joke section where they send you in and everyone
Yes,
just smells and is
yes.
disgusting.
You have to, like, get through
And they're
that,
like,
like, go to, like,
really?
perfect
This is
yeah.
what I yeah. And they're like, oh, we're joking. They're joking. Come
Yep.
on. It's
Come on, get to the
yeah.
castle. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. So yeah, my gut says medieval, but then if future world is future of now, that could be really cool. So that would
Yeah,
be tempting for me.
I wouldn't pick their future world, like, that they
Yeah,
show in this 1976 movie, but if we're talking, like, updated, today tech, yeah,
yep,
I'd wanna, kinda get a glimpse of what they believe, a
yeah,
space/future kind of world would look like.
Yep. The issue with that is you you can't it'd be difficult to simulate technology that doesn't exist. So,
Mhm.
like in this, they simulated you blasting off in a rocket. Well, that makes sense. You can do that. But some of this other stuff, um, I mean, they're already using the latest technology to bring you these experiences.
Right,
Doing something further in the future, how I don't know.
right.
That would be
Yeah, and I
difficult to achieve.
kinda think that's why TV show Westworld didn't maybe tackle a space world. You know, they have different
Hmm.
worlds, obviously, within, what they believe Delos Park would be,
Yep.
because it is things that, that they could reasonably accomplish. You can go
Yep.
back to the 40s and go to World War II, like, that's replicable.
Feel like they should have medieval world. We should see that one yet.
But
That
we
one makes
did.
sense.
We did with that cameo from, Game of Thrones and Drogon.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's what
yeah,
they were,
yeah.
like, hinting
Okay.
at, is, like, I'd go to Game of Thrones world if that was medieval world. Be fun.
Yeah, and then we get to see what okay, spoilers for Westworld. We get to see what King Bran is like,
Yeah.
what his rule is
If it's
like.
a
Yeah.
solid choice or not, yeah.
God.
I'd,
Now you bring up
I'd
Game of
prob I mean,
Thrones. Now I'm just kind of getting mad here.
well,
Okay.
to make you maybe unmad, how many people do you think would sign up to go to Game of Thrones world just so they could be the one to, like, kill Joffrey or, like, kill
Oh
Cersei?
my God.
You know what I mean? Like, how many people would just be like, "Yep, me," like, right here, volunteer? Like, they would have
That's
to make,
good.
like,
But
millions of copies of, like, Joffrey just because I feel like so many people
yep,
would kill him. Like,
yep.
yeah, they'd wear out a host so fast.
You go and you just you just ask Tyrion to slap him again. Slap
Yes,
him again. You just like,
absolutely.
oh, I
Yeah,
can't get enough of this.
yep.
Hmm.
So, I just
Okay.
I feel like, there are certain things that could be really fun about that.
Can there be doubles of like Benioff and stuff in shackles or something, and they're
Absolutely,
getting the rat bucket treatment, you know?
absolutely. I mean, they had, Weiss and Benioff in there, so,
Yeah, maybe they're yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that would be another one I feel like people just line up
Yep.
for.
Yep.
Work out your disappointment.
A couple things I had like starting the movie I thought about was it reminded me of Jurassic Park.
Yes,
Um
I had the
in that it
same
was
thought.
like yeah, so the theme of having, especially having just watched Lost World again,
Mhm,
it's the idea of theme world gone bad. You have this
mhm,
humans like to get this hubris that they can harness and control nature, the world, and everything. And the naivete of John Hammond is that he can experiment here with this life, monkey with it, and we'll be able to control it, and then
mhm.
you can enjoy it, and it's going to be amazing. The playing God kind of thing.
Yes.
And this was presented in this sense. They kept saying how nothing can go wrong, went wrong
I know.
before, and
Uh,
now we've got it under control. Now we understand or whatever. So that's to me how it was set up versus the Westworld show is very um sort of it's more internal, like the internal
mhm,
struggle. It's more about the hosts finding consciousness and stuff,
yes.
and really less about the park. And so you're playing God in different ways. Is playing God with
Mm,
technology or playing God with with nature? And I understand that the technology is used to control nature and such, but still. So,
yeah, I mean, obviously, we see a little bit of the same in the 2nd season of Westworld when, um, uh, Dolores is able to harm people, and she goes on, like, her killing
yep,
spree, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, we have to get
yep,
this under control." We see that, but like you said, it's not the focal point. The focal point is, like, hosts becoming aware of themselves. That's, like, the true
yep,
focus. Um, so yeah, so in this movie, we kind of get the other side of, like, that's not as important. because these to people in this movie, and I think even to like the sort of robots themselves, they're not like people. Just they give
Hmm.
far less credit in here. Perhaps that's explored more
Yep.
in like the original Westworld movie. I agree. Here it's more about like damage control and like showing people that like, nope, this was just like a blip. We got this under control.
Yep.
We had an incident, but we're fine now, and now we need good press so we can like reopen. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, it was a mix to me of Jurassic Park, then also a little bit of Hunger Games. Um, because it reminded me, in the control room, Duffy, like, kind of ordering the technicians around, like, "Oh, this
Mm,
guest is doing that, like, let's make sure to put the queen in his way and, like, steal the camera
sure.
over here. Oh, now this guy's gonna be challenged by a knight, like, make sure to send our knight robot over there." So it was very,
Yep.
like, directorial. It was, like, directing the experience of the
Yep.
participants, in this case, willing and, obviously in the Hunger Games, unwilling. Um,
Yep.
but then, kind of the end where, our 2 protagonists outsmart Park and the director and the game and get away. It was
Hmm.
kinda like the same thing to me there.
Yep. Yep. That's
Very
true.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
And you kind of touched on there how the robots are, it's less about their humanity, and they're a lot more open about being robots.
yeah,
They're
they
like,
just
this
come
is
out and say
my,
it.
yeah, I'm this model, I'm program. I thought that was kind of interesting
Yeah, they
and
have
probably
different
a smart
models.
thing to do. Yeah. Hmm. I
Yeah,
mean, I get you want to sell the experience and the reality, but at the same time, having that little bit of distinction and that slight reminder that that they're not human, could be good.
yeah. Well, and that they're built for different purposes. Like,
Yep.
they talk about building a class of technician robots, but then they talk about within the park, like service robots or sex robots. And it's like
Mhm.
in Westworld, I feel like any host can be any variety of things. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
And
there's
seduce
not.
them all here.
Yeah, exactly. Like the getting off the train for the very first experience where the greeter um robot comes out, very much like, Westworld, then comes out and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," to the guy who's won the contest or whatever and who's winning the trip at Westworld. She's like, "I'm sorry, sir, I'm not a sex robot, so I can't do that with you." He's
Hmm.
all, like ready to go, ready to have sex with the robot. And she's like, "Nope, shutting that down right now." Whereas
That
in
guy was so
Westworld,
annoying.
all of that was like very fluid. It's like,
Yeah.
even the
Yep.
greeter could, have sex with you. Who knows? Um,
Yep.
so yes, that man was cool. Think he was supposed to be like comedic relief, and it just
Yeah.
I could have done
Yep.
without, but I mean, he
Yep.
drove some plot points, I guess. So,
Yep.
um, one
Yep.
thing that you and I both noted that I thought was really interesting, right in the beginning, they were very casual in talking about the Westworld incident in which robots, killed a bunch of hosts, or
Hmm.
sorry, not hosts, but guests. Um,
Yep.
be correcting my terminology here, but then also they were talking about how they killed 50 guests, but then killed like 95 staff and technicians. And I thought that was really
Pretty
interesting
severe.
to me. It was like it was kind of a throwaway line, but I was like, interesting that they killed almost double of the staff and the tech people ran the park, almost like they were like gunning for the people who were their controllers, rather,
Yeah.
I mean, guests obviously because they dictate their experiences, but I don't know. I just thought
Yep.
that was a little reminiscent of Westworld of today.
We should have started with the first one, probably. First Westworld movie. But
Yeah, probably. So
but yeah.
Futureworld did just become available. Westworld's been available on Amazon Prime. You do have to pay to rent it or buy it or whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
But Futureworld just became available on
Okay.
Amazon Prime. So that was kind of why I was like, interesting. Didn't know there was a sequel.
Did you let's see, looking at some of your notes.
Mhm.
Um the let's see. Did you see da, 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 the dreams thing? Did that remind you? That reminded me of Batman Forever. the dream
Yes.
reading thing.
Yep, I
I mean, I
agree
know
with
this
you
came
totally.
first, but and I
Yes.
think that I was just noting that that's a bad idea to have people
Absolutely.
watch your dreams. Like
Absolutely.
that you would just say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that," or no, don't do
Yeah.
that. Anyone
Yeah,
like
I
that's
mean,
a bad idea.
I was reminded of the Batman Forever party where, people go in and they use, like, the box,
Yeah.
and they're
Yep.
shown in their, like, fantasies or whatever. It's like, you're really lucky your fantasies are tame, like, you don't know. Like, that woman who's, like, dripping in diamonds, it's like, "Oh, that's so
Yeah. It's like
great,"
wow.
like,
Yeah.
"Cool," like, I could see that, that's fine, and then the guy goes in and he's got, like, 2 women with him, and, like, all they do is, like, give him, like, a pineapple,
Yeah.
cocktail or whatever.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's
Like,
on the beach. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't do a whole lot. They give him a lay and a pineapple coconut, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
That's right.
yay." But really, like, what if your fantasy is to, like, murder someone and then a whole party just watches you ex murder
Yeah.
someone? Like, why is that a good and what if that someone is
Mhm.
at the party too? Like, do they now think like, "Oh my god, I can never see you because you're gonna commit murder?" Or, like, what if you're
Yep.
lusting after your friend's partner and they're there and it becomes a whole thing. Like,
Yep.
why would you ever
Is any
I don't know.
and dreams
You
in
just never
particular, like,
know.
because yeah, because there's you're right. They're talking about in Batman Forever, like the fantasy thing,
Right.
but then he's able to see like what's been on your mind, like what you're
Yeah,
dreaming of and such as well,
right,
and that kind of
right.
thing. It's when someone puts to the real world in an auditory fashion or in a visual fashion something, it makes it more real. And when
Mhm.
something is in your mind, it is the almost the very essence of not real. And so like when your mind is has firing all kinds of different things that
Mhm.
don't make any sense half the time or
Yeah,
whatever when you're in like a
absolutely.
dreamlike state. It's just the worst idea because
Yes.
someone else is not experiencing that and they see that that's real to them. They've now
Mhm.
it's been realified for them.
Yes,
And
it's
it's
put
just
into the real world. Even if
yeah,
it's via a
right.
screen, it's in the
Yep.
real world now.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I just definitely would I think it would have been way more realistic for both of them to straight up refuse.
Yeah, I
Wow,
agree.
that's an interesting technology. We're gonna not do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Thanks, but no thanks. Like, yeah, Peter Fonda's character even mentions he's like, "I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, I don't know if I'm ready
Yeah,
to see it." I'm
right.
like, "You're probably not. Then don't do it."
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
That was a very, interesting sequence. Um, yeah, it was very odd.
It was an unnecessary moment. I mean, I
It was
understand it
yeah,
was used to have him sneak away, you
yes.
know, but I just don't think that was necessary.
Right. The only part of that that I found interesting was the very end, when, her Danner's character wakes up and, doctor's like, "Oh, give her a moment to, adjust, she's just been in the dream world, and real life is a shock after that." I thought it was kind of an
Mhm.
interesting metaphor to apply to the whole, like, of Delos and being in the world experience because it all sort of is like this fantastical dream that,
Mhm.
isn't real life and and
Yeah.
what it must feel like to go back to your real life after being in there.
Yep.
And, them saying like real life is a shock after that. Like just I don't know, it just kind of resonated with me. Um,
Sure.
as, any sort of guest of any of the parks must feel like they come out.
Yeah. I mean, you can get it on a small scale with all kinds of things. I remember
Mhm,
for a bachelor party, we did like go-kart racing and stuff.
mhm.
And as soon as you get out of that for a while, you had to like make yourself drive sane to leave the place
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, I can't just bump into people and like, corner real fast and all this stuff. That's probably not a good
Right,
idea. So just that
right.
little adjustment there, just in the like motor function element of things, not so much in like your mind space,
Mhm.
um, takes a bit. So yeah, I'm sure that, in this imaginary world where you can have whatever you want, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess maybe it gives you more confidence. So you like walk up to someone and say, "Hey, baby, whatever," and then it works. Maybe that real life now is easier for you. I don't know,
Or, I
but
mean, you think of, like, the struggles of the man in black, William, in our current iteration of Westworld, like, he clearly seems addicted, that his
yeah,
real life just doesn't compare now after being in Westworld and being able to do whatever he
yeah,
wants, like, just, like, free to be his fullest, truest self. So,
yeah.
it's kind of
I
a
can
an
see that happening to a lot of people.
absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
Real life would seem
People
maybe
get that with
duller
video
after
games. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, after being able to do whatever you want and, like, do these fantastic things that you can't do in the real world, you know, how disappointing would that be? How shocking and, kind of a letdown.
yep. People talk about that with like pornography. You can't sit
Mhm.
and watch a ton of pornography and then expect that's reality or whatever,
Right,
and then it
right.
just changes your perception of what reality should be. Or you sit and play World of Warcraft for hours and you feel like you can be your real self with different people on there or something, and then you have to, I don't know, leave and like go to work on a schedule, and you can't talk about the nerdiest thing ever, to everybody else because you'll be shunned or whatever, like definitely
Yeah.
in smaller scale.
I actually did have a friend in college who eventually dropped out because he got so addicted to World of Warcraft. It started very small for him, and then he just, like, progressively got more and more addicted, and he would, like, show up late for his, student job. He would show up late for class. He started skipping class, like, he didn't
Hmm.
he's a theater kid, and he, like, missed tech. He missed, like, all of these things, and finally, the college was just like, "You have to drop out because you're
Hmm.
not attending anything. You're, not following through on any of your commitments, like, you're just sitting in your room playing World of Warcraft." And
Yep.
it just
Crazy.
shocked me because 'cause I'd heard stories of that, but I just never thought I would, like, meet somebody and know somebody, but, yeah, I mean, he was a really normal guy. He just started and, it started out like any video game, and then it just took his life.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can imagine, if a video game can do that, then, a real world experience absolutely to
Yep.
someone.
um what did you think of the copies of our protagonists being organic? They
Mm.
were more like clones
Yeah, that was really
than machines.
yeah, I actually I thought that was like a really logical step based on, when they were, put to sleep and they were scanning them in the lab and stuff. I thought that was really more of a practical thing to do. Whereas in like Westworld, you know that they're being copied, that guests are being copied, but they don't really explain the mechanics behind it. It's just like we have the
Yep.
technology, we scan your brain, like boom, we've got a
Yep.
copy of you.
Yep.
Whereas this one, they're like showing you like, oh, they're going in and doing a CAT scan, they're like scanning your skeleton, they're taking your vitals, like
Hmm.
all of these like mechanical steps um to, recreating someone. But you don't know at the
Yep.
time, but then when you do, you're like, oh, that's what all that is for.
Yep.
But yeah, so I actually really bought into that. Um, because they were doing all of this like biological testing. So I was like, okay, sure. Like, yeah, it makes sense that they
Yeah.
would make biological
Yep.
copies. The disconnect for me was like, oh, they exactly program their brains be so
Yeah.
specific.
Have the
They're
memories.
yeah, they have the memories, but then also they're like hardwired in some fashion to be loyal only to Delos. I don't know how you do that if it's not like literal programming.
Well, it was like they were doing like a brainwashing kind of thing, you know, sitting
Yes, but
there
also
like auditory deprecation, and like
right,
repeat this thing over and over.
it just
And
seemed like really quick for that to take
yeah.
that strong of an effect. I mean, obviously,
Yep.
I don't know about like the mechanics of copies, like when they're born, you know, quote unquote born, how their
Yep.
brains work, how impressionable they are. But yeah, it seemed like that was maybe the only bit of a logic
Yeah.
gap for me. But
And it looked
yeah, I
like
thought
they
that
were
was really interesting.
gene sequencing them or something, so I
Mhm.
can
Yeah,
see monkeying with some with some genes there, changing a few things around to make them a little more complacent,
Mhm.
compliant,
Sure.
you know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Instead
but
of being, where's my quote? Oh, suspicious mind, She's
yeah,
like, oh yes, having a suspicious mind, he thinks it's admirable. I'm like, yes,
it
yes,
is.
especially as a
These
journalist in your
yeah, we
occupation.
people
Come on
are.
now.
Yeah. What kind of
So
journalist
it's
are you? You're just like, "Oh, this is gonna be a
right.
great just, like, straight up fluff piece." Like,
Yeah.
"What? You're digging for nothing?"
Yeah. Come on now. Yep. I mean, I get the yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they did that because, of course, it's easier for a biological copy to take somebody's place in the world. Which,
Hmm.
sort of gave us a hint at, current Westworld, like you talked about, Hale making copies of people. Is she
Yes.
making copies of hosts, or is she making copies of real world people like they're
Yep.
doing to these like high ranking, like, Russian generals and Japanese like ministers of state, to slowly like
Yep.
take over. So
That was
that was kind of
definitely
that was a
the
cool hint there.
Yep. That was definitely the one thing for sure that's like, okay, this makes sense where this would go.
Mhm.
Because, we were speculating on, yeah, who is Hale making so many copies of?
Yeah.
And, you know, my thought was, well, maybe a bunch of versions of herself,
Mhm.
because that's what Dolores has done. And, you know,
Right.
but this tactic makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
How would you infiltrate and take it's an invasion of the body snatchers. How would you
Absolutely.
take over a world other than to just become them? You infiltrate the system yourself. They don't know it. It seems very obvious now.
Right. Yeah. I thought this was really interesting in Future World that again they were these biological copies that they were making because that's the one thing that trips up in current Westworld. When Dolores is in that like medevac car, she has no vitals. Like they can't register anything about her. So
Yeah.
they clearly know
Yep.
something's wrong from the get-go. So it's like that would be the only thing if, you're doing like this kind of host body. They're not human, so somewhere, somehow along the way, somebody could discover this.
Yep.
Whereas with, like, if you're
Mhm.
making this biological clone, there's none of that. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yep.
register fully in all ways as human.
Well, your bet would need to be your gamble is that you need to have enough high authority people replaced before
Mhm.
you're discovered.
Right,
You
exactly.
know,
But it
once
is
you've
a
got
gamble.
enough, yeah, right.
Right.
Yep.
It is a gamble. I
If you're
mean, there
revealed
are
too early,
stakes there.
then
Yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Which is
So
which
yeah,
is
that'll be an
why,
interesting change.
like, Loris needs, Caleb for some things because she can, like, inject them into his when he does that, like, whole thumbprint trick at the bank and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
registers as human and she potentially could not.
Yep.
So that's why she, like, needs a human counterpart, so, yeah.
That's true.
So just some limitations that, for Westworld, we kind of the current Westworld, we think, like, philosophically about, but then, for future world, they're just like, "Nope, blown right past that. You're a
Yep.
clone."
Yep.
Oh.
Um the did you notice the music? How some of the music was
In
really in this one, they clearly must have taken inspiration from these films for the
Oh,
music in
yeah.
Westworld the
Yeah,
show, because some of the
absolutely.
themes and songs are like, oh, that sounds really familiar. So I liked that a lot.
Absolutely.
I thought that was
Yeah, no,
cool.
I felt like that right from the first shot where they do, like, the close-up of somebody's eye, one of the
Hmm.
robot's eyes and stuff like that. I was like, "Wow," like, my first thought was, I know now where the current Westworld gets their preoccupation with, those close-up eye shots and
Sure,
intense
yeah.
dramatic music. I was just like, "Man, this is the exact same."
Hmm. Yep.
Oh,
I felt so bad for Clark.
to
Yeah,
guy.
poor Clark.
So Croft and Clark reminded me so much of Caleb and George, his
Sh-
construction worker partner.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Except
Yeah.
except that like Croft really cared more about Clark. Like he was like his true companion. Like Caleb was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is my guy. Um,
Yep.
but like, they were kind of like a cute little, human robot duo. Um,
Mhm.
so I thought that was kind of fun. To kind of maybe if Westworld aren't drew from them as like this kind of,
Yeah.
human buddy cop kind of dynamic.
It was
Um,
just so sad. He leaves and then he
yeah,
slowly puts his hands in
just
his head in his
yeah,
hands. Aw. And
yeah.
then I love the little hints like, you know, where the one robot says, "I can't lie," "Oh, I
Oh,
can't lie."
mhm,
And then he tells Clark later to don't touch those cards. And then he
mhm.
immediately touches those cards when he goes
Yep.
away. And so it gives the sense that they're more playing along with the taking orders, like
Mhm.
they're being cooperative, but
Yes.
they understand that and don't have to be. So I thought that
Right.
was cool.
Exactly. Yeah, they're putting on a show for the humans.
Yep. Hmm.
But yeah, Clark, yeah, gets abandoned there at the end, much like, poor George falls to his demise
Yep.
after trying to be human
Yep.
and save Caleb. But yeah, I mean it
Yep.
just showed that, Clark, yeah, the robot has emotions as well. He feels sadness. If he doesn't have a face to express it, he can still
Yep.
embody it.
What's this comment you have about the island? You and McGregor?
Oh, yes, yes, I'm sorry. So, um, when Fonda's character, Chuck Browning, is facing off against, his clone for the first time, and his clone says, "I have to destroy my original."
Gotcha. Yep.
It was just so, like, very weirdly reminiscent of Ewan McGregor in The Island destroying his original, you know?
Yep.
I mean, obviously, we have spoiler alerts up, so, if you haven't seen The Island, major spoiler. Um,
Well, and it's yeah.
I mean, it's older, much as this movie is older, but still. So yeah, so it just was a really interesting, like, I have to destroy my original for myself to live. And that was very much
Mhm.
like Ewan McGregor in that movie. Like he came to the
Yep.
realization that if he wanted to have a life outside, he had to destroy his original and take over his life.
Yep.
Um, that of
Well, let
course
me say
wasn't his original intention, but he got there.
yeah. Let me say that the fight sequence in the island between you and McGregor's is a little bit more enthralling than the
Yeah.
fight sequence. I wrote down too I actually did like the battle between these guys at the end, but I particularly noted the fight sequence between Fonda's character and the other guy with the sword, and he had the
Oh
pipe.
yeah, that was
It's
terrible.
like, wow, that's quite a fight there. He just like
Yeah.
holds up the pipe basically, and the
Uh,
guy just hits it with a sword. Yeah,
yeah.
that wasn't so great,
Was
but this
terrible, yeah.
climbing and swinging around that was pretty good later, I guess. And
Yeah, they did definitely did try to keep track of who was who, and they did a great job of, like, zooming in and out so you would have a hard time, at the end knowing if, the
yeah,
original
hmm,
made it or if it was his copy, so
yep,
I like
yep, that
Blythe
was good.
Danner's character, like, her fight sequence was a little more straightforward.
Yep. I thought the draw should have been a little faster, like a
Yeah.
little quicker.
Especially for somebody
But
who's supposedly trained in guns by their father. It had
yeah,
just been, like, a
yep,
little more natural, but
yep.
great.
Well, yeah. Any other big thoughts on this that we're missing? I think I went over like what I had to say pretty much.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing that I thought of was, both Peter Fonda and Blythe Danner, they have to like face off against basically organic versions of themselves. And
Hmm.
like, do you think you could do that? Like, could you fight you and kill you? No, I mean, it's definitely a survival situation that's very obvious. Like, their clones are
Hmm.
coming after them to kill them. So there's no like, let's talk this
Yeah.
out and we could coexist. but, like, yeah, I mean, just being faced with somebody who looks exactly like you, who professes to know all your memories, who can, say, like, "I'm in your head, so I know what you're planning," like, and I just
Yeah.
how'd you feel about that?
Well, I wonder if it'd be a bit like, well, so firstly, there's things like the oh, I can't think of what the effect is called or the situation, but basically when you see something and it creeps you out
Mhm.
because it's not quite real or there's something off about it,
Yeah.
and that's applied in various levels to different things, like children being then very sinister. You have the innocent thing
Yeah.
and you're tying it
Mhm.
with something that doesn't seem right for what you're seeing. And I
Mhm.
wonder if part that you'd be seeing this thing and your mind understands that's not supposed to be possible, like, or
Sure.
whatever. And so that is kind of frightening to you. And the other hand, if it's kind of like when you hear your voice, I've gotten used to hearing my voice again since college. I'd kind of not, but now I'm used to
Yeah.
hearing it again with this stuff. But it
Yeah.
doesn't sound right and it's off putting and you don't
Mhm.
understand it, or it like, ugh, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
So I wonder if you see them and you do that visually.
Sure,
I don't
yeah,
know.
the way you can, like, hear your voice and you're like, "That's not how I sound in my head. Why is
Yep.
this the way I sound?" Yeah, for sure.
So this is how I look. Like that's not right. That's not me, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Even though it obviously is exactly you.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I just
oh yeah.
feel like it would be either traumatizing or sort of, like, weirdly therapeutic. Kill yourself.
Yeah, right. You could like use
No.
it to start all over. You like
Right.
literally killed yourself in a way and now
Right,
you can.
yeah, like, let anything I don't like about me maybe die with this, like, clone of
Yep.
myself and, start over. Yeah. I
I
know.
think the thing of a loved one and be way harder, you know. Someone you
Yeah.
really cared about is there and that's the duplicate of them.
Mm,
That would be much more difficult.
sure, sure.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would kind of depend on what kind of person you are. Because if I think, to the current iteration of the TV show, if we look at like the Man in Black, William,
Oh yeah.
he seems to have a
Right.
really easy time like killing his daughter, who he thinks is a clone. I mean,
Oh
or
yes.
a host, to
Yes.
be honest.
Yes.
But he seems to have a really easy time of it. But then like now we're watching him like grapple with himself at the end of the
Yep.
season, and he seems to have a much harder time, with the reality of confronting himself in front of him.
It's a lot
Oh,
more personal on that. I mean, he just shoots his daughter
right,
before, and then
right.
he like strangles his former
Yeah,
self,
right.
you know.
So
So it'd
clearly
be
that for him is more difficult than, a loved one. So
Mhm.
it depends on who you are.
I'm s- I'm still kind of upset that in the Westworld show they went through the trouble of having William do all these therapy sessions and different stuff, this kind of insane treatment, and then for himself to kill his past selves, only then to die. Like he has this
Mhm.
he says, "I know what I must do now," kind of
Yeah.
thing, and starts on his mission, and then immediately is killed. That's that's I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
Mhm.
It's like it's a poor payoff then for what we
Right,
sat through with William when often that seemed kind of tangential to the rest of the show anyways.
right. Yeah, I think it was a great climactic moment to have him fight his
Hmm.
host. But yeah, I mean, I wish that I mean, maybe somehow, I don't know, he's
Yeah,
alive.
yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
no,
mean, what
if
does
he
it matter
truly
now?
is
What is it?
if
Yeah.
he truly
What
is
does it?
dead, I agree. Like that was a poor payoff for like all the,
Yeah.
therapeutic work we watched and all
Yep.
the kind of torturous
Yep.
self-examination we saw.
But what does it really matter? Like if Dolores, her bodies can die many times or whatever, and if there's a copy of her and it's put in a new body, is it not her?
It
You know?
yeah, we I mean we talk a lot about, OG Dolores, Dolores Prime, and then all of like her selves that she's copied into, including other versions of herself, like even her own
Mhm.
body. Yeah, is that not Dolores as well? So
But see it from the outside perspective, think especially when you're talking about something that you would recognize as a machine or it's something digital that you would copy, you think,
mhm,
well, I'm not losing it. It's I'm making a copy and this is there. That's the thing. It's exists. It's the same.
mhm,
But think about it for yourself now. If you die and there is then an exact copy of you, like from the moment you died, you are no longer inhabiting that body. You did die.
mhm.
There's now a copy of you that it's up to date and current. And to that person, they are like, oh, that was cool. I'm glad that happened. I
Right,
didn't die.
right,
But
right.
you did die, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
the existence you have does not get
yeah.
transfer. I mean, one is extinguished and
Right.
then
Well,
another exact you is made.
I think the interesting part would be, when is my copy made? Is it like the
Right.
very instant that I, am dying? And they have all of my experiences up to that, including that moment, or am I like making a backup, a day or two before? They don't have like those final days kind of experiences. Like, I think that's easier to point out that that's not like me, because they fully don't have my experiences before I die. But if like they have
Mhm.
literally everything up until the moment of my death, like, is it not me? You know?
E I
Is
it's
my
almost
body
like
just a
on a
body? Because that's what altered
Mhm.
carbon addresses. If it's like
Right.
my sort of stack, and my download, is it not still me if it's not my
Y
body?
Usually that gets like a stack gets ripped and moved, and so
Right.
literally your essence is being pulled out and moved to a new
Would it
body.
would it be kind of the
Um,
same? Because like the premise of altered carbon is that like the brain and the experiences are much more important. They don't really address a soul, I think.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like, because they don't really like grapple with like, how does that affect things, or what is it? So I
Mhm.
think like that, no, that plays
I'm
like a
just
certain
I'm
role
in
in what
my
we're kind of
yeah.
talking about, but it's hard to define, it's hard to describe.
I'm just in my head now feeling like I would I would understand that I die,
Mhm.
but then I would never wake up. Someone another me would wake up.
Mhm.
My existence has been extinguished. I think
Mhm.
of it like so if you were gonna say digitize yourself and you're like, okay, there's this new process now, and I can go in and I don't need a body. I can be in with the internet or whatever. I can be in a
Mhm.
digital space or whatever. And so you go in and you sit down, you get plugged in, and you close your eyes, and moments later you wake up and you now are in a digital existence. That to
Mhm.
me, you didn't die. You were part of that experience of literally, and it was an awareness and understanding of a transfer of yourself to another
Okay.
self or another
Okay.
existence. But if
Sure.
you are shot in the face and lights out, and then you wake up in another body, I don't know. Like, are you aware? Because you're now aware that you died and now are back. So that thing that exists doesn't feel like it's not you. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I need to be high or something. I don't have the words
It's
right
it's
here.
very it's very tricky to define, like, the way that the self, um, can transcend death.
Mhm,
There's a lot of different, shows and programs take us through very different versions of what copying yourself or what transferring yourself looks like. And
mhm,
It's very like thin line between, do I make a copy of myself or am I me in another body?
Right.
Or is
Yep.
there or did my original self die?
Is
And
that
now
like
there's a
the
copy of
minutia?
me. Mhm.
Is that like minutia that doesn't matter, and ultimately, in actuality, it's the same thing? Like a copy versus a
Yeah.
transfer,
I
you
think
know?
that's what many of these are trying to explore, where
Mhm.
is the line that we cross and say, okay, now definitively we believe this is a
Yep.
copy, it's not the original you. Where does the
Yep.
original you stop? And what is the
And
original you?
I wanna know how much the physicality of a life form matters to his
Mhm,
existence really,
mhm.
like, and I don't know or figure that out or in our lifetime, but I just like, would it would you still understand yourself being you if you were just digitized? Or as
Mhm.
they cavalierly do in Altered Carbon, switch bodies back and
Yes.
forth? I
Right, that
like
was
how they
that was
address
one
that
of
a
the
little bit in
issues.
Westworld.
Yeah, that was one of the issues I
Mhm.
had, with Altered Carbon where, season 2, um, Prep, the bounty hunter, wakes up
Yep.
in Keshi's body, and she's just like, "Cool, I can use this, like,
Yeah.
like, I'm in this sleeve, and I know everything about its physicality." And to me, that feels untrue because I feel like part of yourself is tied up in, like, knowing the way your body works. And
Yep.
could you transfer to another body? I believe that that's possible, and you could still be the essence of yourself. You have to, like, sort of redefine that within the physical confines of form that, you now take.
Yep. I
You'd have
mean,
to
they
get
talk
used
about
to it.
yep. Because they talk about inner peace being that like balance between mind, body, and soul. So
Mhm.
when you can when you're like doing tai chi, when you're or meditating or something like that, when you can have your body moving in tandem with
Mhm.
your like I don't know. I think it's a more critical element to our existence than a lot of people want to think. Like our
Yeah.
soul is going to go away, it's going to go to heaven, and then there's just going to be whatever. Um, whereas the body is just a form to be discarded. I just don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
As I think they address a little bit with Hale and how she so drastically changes
Exactly.
in Westworld.
Exactly, yeah, I mean, part of being in Hale's body, like, alters that copy of Dolores, and she, says, "I know who I am," and, like, this being in this body is affecting me, and she's infecting me, referring to Hale,
Hmm.
um, that
Yep.
that fundamentally alters who she believes she is, so
Yep.
one could argue, like, the moment
Oh.
that Dolores, like, copies herself and this copy of herself starts to have different experiences, she's not Dolores anymore anyway.
Yeah. Right.
No, she's something different. But what is that? We don't know.
Yep. Is that yeah.
Very interesting.
Uh it's
This
getting
was a
deep and I don't have the yeah.
it's a tough discussion. I mean, we really have answers, or is it just
Oh, you're
this
you're
was
breaking up some there.
oh sorry. Um this is just kind of, I think, like a fun movie to watch in terms of, like, the things we've been talking about recently, and of course, like, our string of extra Westworld episodes. This was fun.
Yep.
I wasn't
Yep.
sure even when I recommended that we do it, but I really enjoyed it.
Yep. Yep. Like you say, all about those spacesuits. Pretty awesome.
Oh god, I died. Those astronaut
Pretty
costumes were
good.
awful. They were so bad. They were so bad. Ugh, yeah. I mean, like, you could even see those, like, little boxes that they had on the suits
Yeah.
were, like, detached, like, they would flap around and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, man.
All they needed they
Come
needed
on,
bell
costume
bottoms.
department."
The
Oh
spacesuit
god.
should have had bell bottoms.
Yes. Clearly, they wear bell bottoms, like, in whatever, like, space station that they were, like, supposed to be
Yeah.
residing in.
Yep.
Oh man.
Guess what? In the future, bell bottoms is still here.
Still here,
Yep.
still rocking it.
Yep. Hey, in our future world, they might be.
We never
In their
know. I
future
mean,
world, they should have been wearing skinny jeans.
you know, when we were teenagers, like bell bottoms came back and they were the
Flares,
rage.
yeah. Not
Theirs,
quite
yeah.
usually. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But, like,
Yep.
you know, like a version of them came back.
Yeah,
So who
for sure.
knows? Who knows?
It's all cyclical. It's all the I mean, as all life, but in a less severe sense, the fashion industry. It's
Yeah.
all like the Devil Wears Prada lady. You know, I got a calendar here, and in this decade, we're gonna go back to this one, start pumping
Yep.
those things out because it
Yep.
can't come with anything
Exactly.
new. So,
Exactly. Just like our thoughts are cyclical, our fashion is.
can you move at anything but a glacial pace? Or
You know how
anything
that thrills
faster than
me.
a that's a good movie, actually. So,
Yes, it is.
all right. Well, we've broke the 2 hour mark. I think in a previous episode, I was all excited about our time being real long, and it
Mhm.
wasn't as long as I thought it was. So I look like a
We
fool
managed
there,
it
but
this time.
it's definitely up over 2 hours this time. Um, do you want to attempt a housewives thing another time or something?
Yeah, that sounds good.
A little housewives recap? Yeah. Um, there was a missing an episode of Beverly Hills this week, so kind of take a break from that anyways, and we'll get back into kind of a catch up on New York later then.
Sounds good.
And oh well, your internet only went down 3 times.
Oh, the joys of
Oh man,
technology. Yeah, it's so
yeah,
fun.
yep. All right, well, thanks everyone for joining us. We had
Yeah,
like 1 viewer, that's great. We had quite a few views on some of our other clips, so keep checking out our clips on YouTube.
yeah.
I know these episodes are very long and cover very like wide range of topics sometimes, and you might not be interested in all of it or have the patience for all of it. So we'll get some clips coming to you so you can maybe tune in for those. I posted one Gamecast on the Rock stream today. I
Hey,
I streamed another one today on Twitch, and you should check that out. I'll have that on YouTube soon. Being I was on vacation, I didn't get our last game special on YouTube yet, so I'm gonna get that on there, and then this will show up on there. Um, all kinds of stuff happening.
absolutely.
And let's see, you should check out Lucas333. That's spelled with a K. That's who I streamed with today, playing Fortnite. Thank you to Killing the Flower, the band, for our theme song. Check them out on Spotify and on Instagram. We are pretty much everywhere that you would expect us to be. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and we have our website and YouTube and Twitch. We're not on TikTok. I guess we're not hip enough for that. Um,
Way too long for TikTok. I don't know if we could like shorten ourselves into a TikTok.
just do a whole
Can't be
episode.
contained in a TikTok.
We're, we're gonna break each episode into TikTok pieces. So you watch
Oh,
one, and it's literally like 5 seconds, and then 5 seconds of it, and 5 seconds, or whatever the span
we
is.
would
Like,
break TikTok.
yep.
Maybe that's what we
Yep.
should do sometime is break TikTok. Yeah, become
We could
famous for
probably
that.
come up with something, or it could be a challenge to like this. How many seconds is a TikTok? Do you know?
I mean, they can be a variety of lengths, but I mean, I would generally
Okay.
say like around like 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
You
So
could
it
do
could be
it.
a
It's
challenge.
feasible.
We could be like, all right, we're gonna break each episode down, starting from the beginning, in
Ooh,
in 30 seconds. So like you have to distill the essence of the episode in 30 seconds. And it
oh
could be
man.
like via meme or via, reenactment or just like, talking. Oh, it could be sock puppets. Be like, Andrea sock pup. Gotta get it in the frame. Andrea's sock puppet and John's sock puppet. Something like that. We'd be so cool. Everybody
Gonna
call
do
us
it
boomers.
one of these days.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Check us out everywhere, and we'll be back next week with another long, awesome episode.
Love it. Well, good night,
Bye.
everyone.